to the next video in the Ask Anna series, where I answer your questions and give you some top tips and advice to support you in your career. If we haven't met before, my name is Anna and I work as a career coach with Birkbeck Futures. Today I'm going to be talking about telephone interviews, and if you're prepping for one, congratulations. Your CV and your application and cover letter have obviously done what they're meant to do, and you've passed that first crucial stage in the recruitment process. Now it's really down to you and how you present yourself. So let's look at what you can do to come across as professional, as confident as you can in a telephone interview. Well, what do recruiters want to know about you? They use telephone interviews as a filter to screen out candidates who don't meet the criteria that they're recruiting for. They also use it to check any information that you may have forgotten to mention in your application. They might want to speak to you a little bit more about your qualifications and experience and how they relate to the job, and also to get a sense of your interest in the role itself. They might want to get an idea of what your salary expectations are for this role, and how much notice you might need to give your current employer should you be offered it. It's also a really good way of gauging your communication and presentation skills. So preparation is the key to succeeding at a telephone interview, like any interview. You've got the date, you've got the time, so you can plan in advance how you're going to approach the interview so that you can make a good impression. And planning ahead is really what it's all about. Make sure that you are in a quiet place at the interview time where there are not any distractions. Make sure that if you're using a mobile, that it's charged, and that you've got a good signal as well. If you're somewhere where you don't have a good signal, I would opt for a landline telephone interview because that would be the safest. If you feel that you're going to be nervous in the telephone interview, then have a glass of water handy to sort of calm yourself a little bit. It's really important to have a targeted elevator pitch, which you can use to introduce yourself, your skills, your knowledge, and how you meet the requirements in terms of experience. Be ready to tell a story and articulate why you are a great candidate for this role. With a telephone interview, you have the advantage of being able to have lots of things in front of you which you can refer to. So information about the company, your CV, anything that you might need, like prepared bullet points, just to help you in the interview. And don't forget to have some questions prepared as well to ask the person that's interviewing you on the phone. Your voice is your tool in a telephone interview, and it's going to communicate a lot about your personality. So really be aware of how your tone and your pitch come across, and any little kind of speech mannerisms that you may have that you weren't aware of. So practice in advance and record your voice. I really believe that people can hear a smile in someone's voice. So smile if you feel like it. People are always surprised about how they sound when they record their voice, and that's because we hear ourselves talk. The way we hear ourselves talk is affected by vibrations inside our head, our skull, which are set off by our vocal cords, as opposed to the sound waves hitting our eardrum. So we always can be surprised about how we sound when we listen to recordings of our voices. First impressions are really important in telephone interviews, so don't be lulled into a false sense of security. I always say to students, dress the part. When you're dressed for an interview, you breathe differently, you hold yourself differently, and the way you talk will come through differently. I think it really will come through if you're sitting in your pyjamas or sweatpants having a telephone interview. Put the effort into it to prepare in advance, because you really will reap the benefits, and you'll be able to relax and enjoy the experience and come across as confident and enthusiastic, and you'll be able to perform well. So remember, recruiters are looking for someone who's professional, confident, calm, approachable. So now that we've touched on some of the key things that recruiters are looking for, go and ace that telephone interview. And remember, you are the difference in your career. Until we meet again next time, bye-bye from me.